there, friends. Welcome back to my channel. It's Amy here, and what I would like to do with you today in this video is compare the Close to My Heart ink pad to the Stampin' Up! Ink pad. I have now been officially a Stampin' Up! Consultant for 2 months. It's hard to believe it's been 2 months. And I am learning something new every day, which is really exciting. So let's first talk about the different ink pads. This is the Close to My Heart ink pad. Close to My Heart ink pads are a felt pad. And if you look at their pads closely, you could see the felt. I love the Close to My Heart infrastructure, if you will, for lack of a better word, of the ink pad. I love that it's magnetic. I love that the ink is stored upside down. The Stampin' Up! Ink pad is a sponge pad, and I have to say I really like the sponge pad. I prefer the Close to My Heart mechanism over the Stampin' Up! Mechanism, but I do prefer the sponge pad as opposed to the felt pad. Now, when you open up a Stampin' Up! Pad, it takes a little getting used to, and this is a brand new pad, so I think the more you use it, the more you open and close it, the more it will open more freely. But there is this little lip here, and what you want to do is lift that, and then this slides like this and slides like that. So like the Close to My Heart pad, the ink does store upside down, which is really nice. Now the other thing, when you go to close it, you just slide it like that and then flip it over. And if your ink pad is a little stiff in here, you can actually rub, they say chapstick in here, and that will lubricate it and make it glide more easily. And like the Close to My Heart pad, the pad itself is slightly raised. Now, one thing that I learned recently is the back of the pad has this sticker. And what's really cool about this, I'm going to get my very dull piercing tool, and these are stickers. Let's see if I could lift this up. This is the Pretty and Pink ink pad, which is one of the new in colors. And so it says Pretty and Pink right there. And that is made to go right here so that when you have it in your stamp tray, you will see Pretty and Pink. Then they have it written in other languages. I believe it's German and Dutch, but there is a second one that says Pretty and Pink, and you can actually, I believe this whole sticker comes off. Yeah, there we go. So see, this whole thing comes off, and we can take the other Pretty and Pink, and this one, well, 2 of them came off. These 2 are the other language, so I don't need those, so I'm going to throw those away. But there is a blank label, and what I'm going to do is put the blank label on the other side of the ink pad. So when I have my ink pad in my storage tray, I will see the Pretty and Pink. But if for some reason it gets turned around, I can see that pink right there. But then this Pretty and Pink, you're going to stick on the side of the ink pad. That way, when you open this up and it is opened, you can see that that is Pretty and Pink. And that's going to be really helpful, especially if you're working with several pink colors. You can see that Pretty and Pink right there. So that is what I'm going to do with my stickers. Put one on the front, put just the blank one on the back. Guess I should be in camera. So one on the front, one on the back, and then the other one is right there so that when your ink pad is open, you can see what color it is. Now, one thing that I have learned with the Stampin' Up! Pad is you do not have to apply much pressure at all. I've also learned that with a Stampin' Up! Pad, you only have to gently tap. And we're going to do some stamping now. So I just grabbed one of my new Stampin' Up! Stamps. This is a photopolymer one, and it's called Hooray for Surprises. There's actually a really fun die set that goes with it. This is brand new, so I have not put my stamp images, like set up my case. And you may have seen a previous YouTube video where I show how I put the images right over the printed images in the case, and then I have those magnetic sheets that I adhere in here and put the coordinating dies there. And then I'll put my acetate over the stamp so that when you close this, the stamped images are protected. That's actually in another video, but I'm going to take this solid flower because I want us to stamp with a solid image. Now with Close to My Heart, they always taught us to season the stamps. Some veteran Stampin' Up! Consultants, they say you don't have to do that with theirs, but I just do that. The difference is Stampin' Up! Says to use a hard surface, where Close to My Heart, the recipe that they use for their photopolymer stamps, you get a better impression when you have cushion. So I always would turn my Versamat over and have that cushion, and then use that foam sheet that came with the Close to My Heart inks. You do not need to do that with the Stampin' Up! Inks or the Stampin' Up! Images. And I find that a hard surface, you get a better image with the Stampin' Up! Stamps. I highly, highly recommend the Stampin' Up! Glass mat. This is my new best friend. I love it. I don't know how I survived without a glass mat. And I talked about this in another video too. Anyway, with the Close to My Heart stamp pad, you know, we were always taught to twist, 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 and stamp, stamp, stamp. And then ink this down. So this is flamingo ink and Close to My Heart. So that looks great. All right, now we've got to clean our stamp. And then we're going to do the same thing with the Pretty and Pink ink. And with this one, this is very juicy, so you really just tap, 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 which is taking me some getting used to because I tend to be really hard when I stamp. So let's see how this goes. I like it. I like it a lot. And then there is also, with Stampin' Up!, we have what we call the Stampin' Spots. And these are just the 1x1 inch inks. And Close to My Heart used to have these way back when, but then they got rid of them. And these Stampin' inks, they come with the Paper Pumpkin, if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, and they come with various kits. I'm just trying to open this. I don't have a pink one, so we're going to use this Shy Shamrock. I got my Shy Shamrock, and this does have a raised pad, and this one actually looks kind of like a felt pad, kind of like the Close to My Heart one. Because this is so small, I'm going to go like this. Now, I really wish that I guess I should have stamped everything with the Shy Shamrock, but that's okay. The other thing, my ink is, my block is a little, my image is a little bit wet, but let's see how this goes. I like this green color. So there is the image with the Stampin' Spot. And I would say with the Stampin' Spot, you would have to ink a little bit harder. Now this, I think that there's a lot of dots in that image because this is wet. It's not, when I clean it with the stamp chamois, I'm not drying it completely. But you can see as the inks dry, the images you get. So those are samples of stamping. Now what I thought I would do is use the blending brushes. And one thing I love is Stampin' Up! Has the blending brushes that are the size that Close to My Heart carried, but then you can get small ones, like mini ones, and they're just as cute as can be. And they are great when you're sponging and adding ink blending to small areas. So you can check that out on my website or in the catalog, and you can get the small ones. So with the flamingo, you've seen me ink blend with Close to My Heart inks. And I do not have all of the Stampin' Up! Inks yet. To be honest with you, we are told that they will be, they're looking into changing the configuration of the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, and they are looking at the Close to My Heart configuration. I haven't been told 100% that they're going to change their ink pads to the way the Close to My Heart ink pads are, and I would love it if they did. So right now the only inks that I have are the ink color ones, but I am seeing, as I will need I do have a need to, I'll slowly start investing in the Stampin' Up! Ink pads, simply because I do like the sponge pad better than the felt pad. Now you can see here I'm having to blend a little, add a little bit more oomph to the Stampin' Up! Pad, but they do pretty much work the same. I can't really tell a difference here. So I am happy with that. Now let's try the Stampin' Spot. Ooh, wow. And that one, I would suggest that you tap off. The other thing I noticed with the Stampin' Up! One, you don't have to tap off. You have to add a few more layers than you do with the Close to My Heart one. Close to My Heart one, I definitely recommend tapping off, meaning tap it on scratch paper before you start blending on your project. I don't feel you have to do that with the Stampin' Up! Ink pad. With the Stampin' Spot, or yeah, I think that's what it's called. Yes, Stampin' Spot. I would stamp off, because you see how I got that blob right there? So I would go on my scratch paper and then go on to my project. So that's what I'm discovering with that. And I'm just playing and experimenting with all of you live. I haven't done this ahead of time, so I am learning with you. As I mentioned, the Stampin' Spots you can get with the paper. They come with all the paper pumpkin boxes, and they do come with a variety of kits. Every kit that I've gotten so far, it has had a Stampin' Spot. And there is in the catalog, you can get a collection of, I think, 12 Stampin' Spots. So I pulled in my catalog. This is the May 2024 through April 2025 catalog. And on page 16, down at the bottom, you can see the classic Stampin' Spot assortment. So you get 8 colors, and that's a nice way to try them out. And with the kits and the paper pumpkin, it's a great way to add to your collection of colors of inks. And I've shared about the glass mat. I love the mat here that the glass mat comes with, because these Stampin' Spots fit in here perfectly. And then the ink pads, the bigger ink pads, are right here, so that when you're using your ink pad, the ink pad itself is not sliding around. So I do love that. Now the last thing I'm going to share with you is when we swipe. So I have done projects in the past where we ink distress, and there's a variety of ways to do that. And one of the ways, I'm just pulling in my all-purpose mat, or you can use scratch paper. You could actually do this right on your glass mat, because your glass mat comes with a stamp chamois that you can clean it with. I guess old habits are hard to break, and I always use the all-purpose mat. But a way that you can add color and texture and uniqueness to your projects is you can just swipe. So I swiped that's the Close to My Heart pad, and I'll usually do it a few times. And I do like when you get those lines and that variety of texture. It kind of makes it artsy and mixed media. So that is a Close to My Heart pad. Now here is the Stampin' Up pad, and check that out. So there is a big difference there. Now I like both ways. It depends on what look you're going for. Then if we try the little Stampin' spot, that's kind of similar to the Close to My Heart. You get a little bit more ink, but you get more of the lines, the different variations. Whereas with the Stampin' Up sponge pad, you get a full coverage. This would be really cool to then go in and stamp an outline stamp, a stamp that doesn't have you don't color in, and then you could instantly have that colored in. So let me grab a stamp and I'll tell you what I mean. All right, I will just pull out my Latte Love, and we'll just use one of the mugs, and I'll get another block. And this might be too small. No, that will work. So this is one way that you could add color to an image without having to color it in. Just stamp like that, and you've got your pretty in pink mug. So that's kind of cool. So that is a big difference. So I just wanted to share with you what I have been discovering as I learn more about the Close to My Heart versus the Stampin' Up products. So hopefully that gives you a little idea. Close to My Heart has the felt pad. Stampin' Up has the sponge pad, and I shared with you how to put those stickers on that are in the back of the ink pad. So I'm going to go through and do that with all of my pads. Love the blending brushes, and I can't tell a difference between Close to My Heart and Stampin' Up, but I love that Stampin' Up you can buy smaller ones as well as the same size that Close to My Heart always had. And then the sponging again, with Close to My Heart ink pad in the Stampin' spot, I would tap off and then add my ink. And with the regular Stampin' Up, you need to add a few more layers, and then huge difference in the swiping. So there you go. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'm looking forward to next week popping on and starting to create some more projects with you. We've had company in town, and so I took a little break, but I've got lots of ideas and things to share with you beginning next week. Thanks so much for joining. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that so you don't miss out on any other videos. Bye for now.